name is I'm the founder and CEO of ShareLove.Fund, and we are going to conclude our teaching methodologies section of elementary school just by recapping some things that really work, which are telling stories and also giving children the opportunity to create their own sequences. So in terms of stories, sometimes when we allow the children to create a story and move at the same time, it's a way to help them link the movements in a more fluid way. For example, if they're telling the story of, going to school, then, they get up out of bed, they put on the clothes, they, get in the car. But basically you wouldn't be like lying down and standing up and back and forth because that's not what we really do in real life. Like in real life, there's a certain order of things and there's a certain natural flow. Also with telling stories, when we tell stories about nature, yoga was based on nature. That's why we have cat pose and cow pose and camel and sphinx, all the things that were observed around people since ancient times. And so telling a story, we can tell a story about nature, and the yoga actually naturally mimics that, because yoga was sort of developed to mimic nature. That's why there are so many animal poses. In addition, the children can learn what they were learning in history or geography, like we talked about. We can be going on a trip down the Nile, doing boat pose. Maybe an alligator is snapping at you. Maybe going down to Sphinx pose and, and whatnot. So this is a way to sort of talk about what the children are learning about, but really act it out, as we discussed. There are ways that children can travel the world and explore their geography through their yoga and storytelling. Also, children can enjoy a sense of culture and, sort of celebrate different holidays by incorporating the themes of culture into the yoga class and the poses. And this also teaches children to be a little more sensitive to their environment and aware of different perspectives. Through yoga, we can pretend we're traveling the world and, maybe even go from mat to mat. And maybe in this mat, they speak Swahili. Do you know how to say hello in Swahili? And maybe in that mat, they speak Spanish. And, just giving the children an awareness that, like this glow back here, that, the world has more than what we immediately see, but maybe we can't explore that physically, but we can explore it in the classroom by learning different words of different languages or traditions. Yoga can also help children tell stories of animals and think about how different animals move, or if they jump, or if they crawl, and learning about their environment in terms of animals and expressing that through stories in yoga. There's also anatomy. Children can learn about their sit bones and why is it easier for some people to forward fold and why is it easier for other people to backward bend. And the way our hips are connected and joined, we're not all made completely the same. And, some people can do the middle splits easier than other people. And yes, of course, there's an element of practice, but I think we've all felt it as adults. Some people are just like naturally more limber than others or bend other ways. One thing I learned in yoga is there really are natural forward folders and back benders, and sort of the way your sits bones and things are connected. you sort of have a natural disposition for one or the other. Some people have a sway back, and we can learn, the children can learn about anatomy. There's also life lessons. The children can learn about balance and focus, especially balance in the partner poses. When we did Tricky Tree that I showed, you know, it's about working together and, you know, not blaming others. And if somebody is a little wobbly, then maybe you have to be extra stable, and it is what it is. And just trying to really be as grounded as possible. Finally, to conclude our section on elementary school children teaching methodology, there is a game where you can have children make their own poses and sequences, and to make it age appropriate for the different ages, because in this elementary school group you may have 5-year-olds to 10-year-olds, you can just give a limited amount of poses. So for example, maybe you just give mountain and warrior 1 and wheel, and you know, maybe triangle pose or something like this. And then the children have to invent their own routine with that. And maybe with older kids, you can add more poses. And with younger kids, you could do less or do a demonstration. And the more children sort of feel autonomy over their own body within limits, the more that they may be engaged and positively contribute to the class. Namaste.